While you're watching this video, a company just made tens of thousands of dollars in net profit. I'm not talking about Apple or Amazon or even Tesla. No, this company is much more discreet, and yet without even knowing it, you probably already use their technologies every day. This company is Nvidia. Today it generates the equivalent of $2,300 in profit every second. Yet behind these dizzying numbers, Nvidia has gone through major crises and even almost disappeared several times, overcoming bitter failures, industrial scandals, and financial crises before becoming essential. So, how did a small startup founded by 3 engineers in a cheap California restaurant manage to become a giant? In this video, we'll discover which highly profitable company currently dominates the field of artificial intelligence. Let's get started. In 1993, no one would have bet $1 on Nvidia. That year, 3 men met in San Jose. In the heart of Silicon Valley, there's Jensen Huang, a charismatic Taiwanese engineer who has just left his promising job at large-scale integration logic. Curtis Priam and Chris Malachowski, 2 brilliant technicians from Sun Microsystems, are by his side. These 3 engineers, who are already well-established in their careers, dream of one thing: creating something that will permanently change the technology industry. They meet at Emmy's, a modest restaurant, and have a passionate discussion far from the luxurious offices of big tech companies. Poor graphics performance that still hampers the world of computing. At that time, computers are powerful, but they are unable to properly render realistic, smooth graphics worthy of cinema or the real world. They then decide to tackle the problem head-on and come up with a company capable of filling this huge technological gap. But their plan seems crazy given Silicon Valley's domination by giants like Intel, Advanced Micro Devices, and International Business Machines. How could a small startup seriously compete with these giants? And even worse, the investors they present their projects to are skeptical. Most of them think that the graphics card market is too small or simply not profitable enough. At this point, the 3 engineers' idea is met with skepticism, and their venture appears destined for failure. Despite numerous rejections, Nvidia manages to secure modest initial funding, and they move into tiny offices where everything is lacking except determination. They immediately begin working around the clock on their first major product, the NV, one launched in 1995. Unfortunately, this first product, which is ambitious but imperfect, does not meet the expected success. Some would even say that it's a failure. At that very moment, Nvidia could get discouraged and give up everything. But instead of giving up, the founders will decide to go even further, to take even more risks. They know their product must be dramatically superior and more powerful. They then start working tirelessly on a new generation of graphics chips. After 4 years of intensive research and tens of millions of dollars invested, Nvidia finally unveils in 1999 the GeForce 256 graphics card, the very first graphics card capable of directly computing 3-dimensional images with a speed never seen before. This time it's an instant success. The market, gamers, and tech press are all won over, with talks of a revolution. Nvidia suddenly becomes the new star of Silicon Valley, an innovative company that's pushing all the boundaries. Its technology rapidly becomes a standard, adopted by the largest video game creators. In a short time, the company rises from obscurity to prominence, becoming an industry rising star. But this is just the start of its journey. When a company faces a crisis as severe as Nvidia's in 2008, the logical, almost instinctive reaction is to pull back. Cut costs, lay off, stop. Most companies shelve risky projects and wait for the market to calm down during turbulent times. However, Nvidia will not follow this approach. Its chief executive officer will refuse to give in to fear. He knows that if they play it safe, they'll eventually disappear. Despite the advice of close associates and several investors, he will make a radical decision. Nvidia will leverage the crisis to not just maintain, but completely transform its ambitions. The company has primarily focused on video games, where it established its reputation. However, Huang wants to expand beyond that. He understands that the world is changing and that the future will not only be visual, but also intelligent. He is the first to realize that the next tech revolution will come from computing power, not images. Nvidia shifts focus to lesser-known fields at the time: artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and scientific computing. These sectors appear ambiguous, intricate, and highly unpredictable. While currently unprofitable, Huang believes they hold immense potential for the future. Rather than continuing to improve only graphics cards for gamers, Nvidia will decide to create a new generation of chips capable of doing much more than just visual rendering. chips capable of processing huge amounts of data, powering supercomputers, and running artificial intelligences. At that time, very few companies are interested in these topics. Artificial intelligence still seems very far from being useful in everyday life. A few laboratories and technical publications discuss it, but no one expects it to generate revenue soon. But Huang, on the other hand, sees much further ahead. He is convinced that the world is slowly shifting toward a new era where computers will not only display images, but also understand, learn, and adapt. And for that, you need computing power that very few companies in the world are able to provide. So Nvidia decides to invest massively, not in advertising or marketing, but in pure research. The company stakes its future on creating innovative products that anticipate and shape consumer demand. It's an extremely risky bet. Nvidia is still recovering, its finances haven't returned to normal, and the pressure from shareholders is immense. But this countercurrent choice will turn out to be the most important turning point in the entire history of the company. Nvidia has unknowingly set the stage for the most significant technological revolution of the 21st century, which will unfold in the coming years. After years of heavily investing in artificial intelligence, Nvidia continues to make quiet progress. It develops its new chips, keeps investing, and pushes its teams to the limit. Externally, few comprehend its actions. Sales are slow to pick up, and new sector revenue remains low. The markets still view Nvidia as a graphics card company for gamers, but behind closed doors, something monumental is in the works. Little by little, things are changing. Starting in 2015, some tech giants begin to realize that the old methods are no longer enough. To train artificial intelligences, to run self-driving cars, to analyze mountains of data, you need colossal computing power. And here he discovers something unexpected. Nvidia chips, originally designed to display video game graphics, are perfect for this kind of task. Google, Amazon, Tesla, Meta, all of them will turn to Nvidia. They order, test performance, then massively adopt these technologies. In a short time, Nvidia becomes the crucial supplier of this quiet revolution, causing demand to skyrocket. What was once a risky bet will become obvious to all. Nvidia chips are ubiquitous, found in data centers, research labs, self-driving cars, robots, and soon in all artificial intelligence systems worldwide. However, the major breakthrough will occur in 2023, when artificial intelligence previously limited to experts will finally become part of the general public's daily life. 4 GPTs emerge, introducing the world to generative artificial intelligence. Suddenly, companies scramble to get involved, seeking immediate computing power. This power is called Nvidia. The top artificial intelligence models utilize Nvidia GPUs, notably the A100 and H100. Orders are skyrocketing. Companies are competing fiercely for them, causing the company's valuation to soar in mere months. It crosses the symbolic threshold of $1 trillion, joining Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon in the very exclusive club of the world's most powerful companies. But while these giants dominate thanks to phones and software, Nvidia is going to rule over what powers everything else, the brains of the machines. Everyone suddenly awakens and discusses Nvidia's incredible growth and sudden success, calling it a miracle. But in reality, you now know after discovering this story, it's not a surprise, it's just the result of a crazy bet made 10 years earlier, in silence and uncertainty. Nvidia wasn't lucky, it simply saw the future before everyone else, and it prepared for it no matter the cost. When you look at Nvidia's extraordinary success, you might think it's all about luck, about having a good idea at the right time, but the reality is quite different. If the company dominates so strongly today, it's above all thanks to a very clear strategy, which can be summed up in 3 essential keys that you can also apply to your own projects. The first key is their incredible ability to anticipate. Nvidia has always strived to stay ahead of the curve, anticipating market changes before their competitors. They understood long before others that the future of technology would depend on immense graphics power, and later on artificial intelligence. In each era, Nvidia foresaw trends that other firms deemed too risky or distant. That's precisely what allowed them to always stay one step ahead. The second key is their exceptional resilience in the face of crises. Unlike many companies that panic and give up quickly when a crisis arises. As we've seen many times on the channel, Nvidia has always chosen to make bold decisions, often going against the grain. Despite facing challenges such as the 2008 defective chip scandal and economic turbulence, the company has consistently turned difficulties into new opportunities. It's this extraordinary resilience that has allowed it not only to survive, but to come out stronger after every storm. Finally, the third key is constant innovation. Nvidia has never stopped investing heavily in research and development. Billions of dollars are invested annually to develop increasingly powerful chips for new technological applications. The company realized early that to remain successful, it must continually innovate its products and stay indispensable. It is thanks to this strategy that it now largely dominates the highly competitive market for graphics chips and artificial intelligence. The company's impressive profits today are due to its mastery of three strategic levers: anticipating, resisting, and innovating. These levers give it a significant advantage over competitors, but the story continues. With NVIDIA generating over $2,300 per second, the question is, how far will this seemingly untouchable company go, and what crisis will it face next? And above all, will it succeed?